I would like to take a pleasure to introduce our speaker of the day. So, Dr. Ketan Thorat is a scientist and regulatory compliance officer at the Institute for Stem Cell Science and Regenerative Medicine, BRIC in STEM, Bengaluru. His work focuses on the ethics, governance, and the safety of emerging biotechnologies. Prior to this, he served as a scientist with the Department of Biotechnology, leading its science and diplomacy portfolio. He is also a recipient of the Gandhian Young Technology Innovation Award, among others, for his PhD thesis with Dr. Praveen Kumar Vimula. Uh, Over to you, sir. I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Mohit. Also, the introduction to CP HMS was a perfect starting for my talk. And hello, everyone. Excited to be here. Thank you so much for waking up early on a Saturday morning and joining the talk. I hope you find a value in what we discussed today. So to start with, I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Also, I'll try changing the slide and see if
Yeah,
that is
it
also working.
works. Yeah.
This works.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's have a look at this video.
Science ever go too far? Just because we can do something, does that mean we should do something?
Yes.
I haven't finished.
I'm sorry, go on.
Ethically, science have any limitations?
No.
What about human cloning?
More of me? Yes, please.
Well, what about more of everyone else?
No, thank you.
What about dinosaurs?
Herbivores, yes. Carnivores, no.
What about the herbivores who can squash you like a bug?
Good point. No dinosaurs.
So, cloning is unethical.
Right.
But what if we were to clone Albert Einstein?
That would be swell. At some point, I'm going to need a sidekick.
Cloning is ethical.
Right, because Albert Einstein, unlike the dinosaurs, harmed no one.
I think the victims of the atomic bomb, which his discoveries helped create, might disagree.
So what's the right answer?
That's why we're here, to find that out.
So exactly, that is the purpose of today's talk, and the a basic underlying idea is that just because a science can do something, is it okay to do that? So, hello everyone. As introduced, I'm Ketan Thorat. I'm a scientist and regulatory compliance officer at Brick in STEM in Bangalore, and I head the regulatory compliance office, which is a first of its kind office created at a research institute, which is mandated to look at the policy and regulation about emerging biotechnology. So, in today's talk, I'll not talk a lot about the regulation around stem cell, but uh, I will try to communicate the spirit behind the stem cell regulation. Uh, uh, I'm sure at least some of you are active in the stem cell research, who are aware of the regulation. But the major issue arises when we just follow any regulation or the law only by the letter and not by the spirit. So the aim for today's talk is to communicate the spirit behind the stem cell regulation in India and across the world as well. So, before we talk about the ethics of stem cell research, let's have a look at why exactly ethics matters in biomedical research at large. So, it has a history of this extremely unethical human experiments, which triggered the discussion and debate around bioethics. and which led to the formation of the bioethics principles which we follow today. So, to tell you about a few of these experiments which happened in the Nazi Germany. So, this Joseph uh, uh, Mengele, who was a doctor in the concentration camps, he's also known as an angel of death, as he conducted experiments on around 1,500 sets of imprisoned twins in the concentration camps. And at the end of his experiments, only 200 survived. So he saw twins as a perfect experimental system, as you have this genetically identical individual, and one of them can serve as control, and the other one is the experimental twin. And the experiments he conducted on them included amputations, infecting one of the twin with various diseases, injecting dyes into their eye to see if the eye color of an individual can be changed after they are born. He also attempted to create conjoined twins by achieving two individual twins together, uh, which would eventually cause a gangrene and death. So, and how his approach was that if the experimental twin dies, the control twin is also immediately killed as a control to compare what exactly happened, right? So, other experiments included a bone, a muscle, and a nerve transplantation, in which the subjects had their bones, muscles, or nerves removed without any anesthesia, in order to see if the soldiers who were injured in the World War II can have transplantation as a viable treatment. They also conducted a lot of freezing experiments, as a lot of this World War II was happening in extreme cold weather. They wanted to see how exactly freezing affects the human body. So the experiments would involve submerging a healthy individual into ice cold water, and seeing how much time do they take to die, and at which temperature of the body do they die. It doesn't only stop there. Uh, uh, they also conducted a forced sterilization under this law, which they passed uh, in 1933, which was the law of the prevention of genetically defective progeny. And as per the understanding at that time, it legalized the sterilization of persons with diseases that were claimed to be hereditary at that point in time, which included weak-mindedness, and even habits such as alcohol abuse, insanity, blindness, deafness, or any physical deformities. So within 4 years, they ended up uh, sterilizing almost 300 1,000 individuals. And the purpose of this experimentation was to develop a method which is suitable for sterilizing millions of people without minimum of time and effort and money. So the experiments included IV injections of iodine and silver nitrate, which at times led to a vaginal a bleeding, abdominal pain, and cervical cancer as well. Ultimately, they decided on radiation treatment as a favored a choice to do the mass sterilization. And how it will happen is that they would have these batches of people enter into a room to fill out some forms, which would take approximately 10 to 15 minutes. And by the end of it, by the time they leave the room, all of them have been exposed to enough a level of radiation which would make them sterilized. So, of course, all these unethical experiments caused a lot of backlash in the society, and yeah, it led to the formation of these basic principles of bioethics, which includes a non-maleficence, which means first of all, you should not do any research which is intended to harm someone. So the principle is that do no harm uh, on anyone. Uh, Beneficence. So it should be the intention of every research study which we undertake to act for the benefit of others. Experiments like changing the eye color of an individual, who is it benefiting in the society? It's an important question to ask every time you plan a research, right? Justice. Uh, 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 so the risk associated with any research, the benefits, the cost, and the resources have to be equitably distributed in the society. It cannot happen that you conduct a research on a vulnerable community or a tribe or the poor people, and allow the benefits of that research to reach uh, o- uh, only the wealthy or the privileged, right? So the both the risk as well as the benefits of any biomedical research we do has to be equitably distributed in the society. It's called justice. And autonomy is that we need to respect the decision of the participant or the donor who's participating in a study or offering their medical data or offering any of the medical samples. However, when the researchers discovered the stem cells and they started um working on it, uh, uh, it challenged a lot of these basic principles, and we'll be talking about how. So just to remind all of you about how the a human development happens is that after fertilization or conception, we have an embryo which is a blob of cells which grows and grows and grows. Eventually, it would differentiate into three germ layers, and after that, each a germ layer will give rise to a different tissue types in our body during the gestation. Ultimately, the delivery happens, and you have an infant or a child who then grows up to become an adult. The uh, biggest ethical concern in the stem cell uh, uh, research, it happened because in order to collect the embryonic stem cells, which, as per their name, are obtained from the embryo. And embryos, because this blob of cells is totipotent, it has the potency to create the entire human being. So, however, in order to collect the embryonic stem cells, you need the inner cell mass of an embryo. It means that as of now, we don't have a method to obtain the embryonic stem cell without completely destroying or killing an embryo, right? However, this is not the only stem cell which exists in a human body. We also have these adult stem cells or somatic stem cells. And they are uh, uh, pluripotent in nature or multipotent in nature, which means that these stem cells have the ability to uh, create a few different subtypes of cells in the human body. For example, as majority of you might have heard that our bone marrow also has stem cells, but those stem cells can only create the blood cells. We also have stem cells in our skin. So if you have a cut or abrasion on your skin, or even to maintain your skin. The stem cells in the our skin will keep on regenerating to 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 heal a cut on the skin, or to keep on regenerating this skin as we keep on shedding the outer layer. And after the invent of the Amanaka factors, we also have the technology now to create the iPSCs, which are the induced pluripotent stem cells. So you take cells from an adult human, which are already differentiated, and treat them with some factors to remind them that they do have the genetic material to behave like a pluripotent stem cell as well. And as the name suggests, these iPSCs are pluripotent in nature. They are also not as potent or or totipotent uh, uh, like the embryonic stem cells. So, embryonic stem cells have this unique ability to create an entire human being and every system in their body, be it the nervous system, the muscle system, the circulatory system, the skeleton. It creates everything in your body. So the first important question today is: are embryonic stem cells, or the embryo itself, are they a person? So why do we need to define uh, something as a person? So our society has some moral, ethical, and legal provisions which offer the protection to a human being and to a person. But is every human being a person, or is every person has to be a human being? Is something we'll be talking about today, right? So the before we delve into this question of if an embryo or the embryonic stem cells are a person, how do we define personhood? So it is a philosophical question. So it has a lot of approaches to it. We'll be looking at a couple of them today. So in bioethics, a personhood refers to the moral and legal status accorded to a being based on the characteristics such as the consciousness, autonomy, the capacity to feel pain, and a relational identity. A relational identity is when you are able to identify yourself based on your experiences and the connections you have in life and the place you hold on this planet, right? So, however, if you look at an embryo, is the embryo conscious? The answer is no, or we don't know. Autonomy is an embryo autonomous. If I have a spare IVF embryo in a dish, is it autonomous enough that it can grow into a full human being? No. If the embryo is in the mother's body, it has the ability to grow into and like a an infant and be delivered and have the potential to become a human being. But even in that case, is the embryo or the fetus independent? It's not. It's dependent on the mother, so it's not autonomous. Does it have the capacity to feel the pain? As we understand, our ability to perceive a pain is also associated with our nervous system. So if the nervous system is not formed in an embryo yet or a fetus yet, is it able to feel the pain? Does it have any relational identity? It has not interacted with the world as of now to identify itself as a being in itself, right? So uh, here comes the issue of biological versus the moral personhood, in which we distinguish being a human, which is a biological category. But we are also a species. So yeah, if you belong to a human species, if you can reproduce with the other human being to create a human, it is being a human, which is a biological category. But from being a person is a moral category, and I'll come to that uh, uh, in a few minutes. Which also means that not all humans are considered a persons in every ethical framework, and some non-humans may also qualify depending on their capacities. So if we talk about the characteristics here, like the consciousness, autonomy, or the pain or the identity. And now, if you compare a fetus with, let's say, a dog has more maybe a more consciousness, autonomy, ability to perceive pain, or have a relational identity as compared to a fetus. If you compare a newborn infant uh, with, let's say, again, a dog, the dog has uh, a more intellect, a more consciousness, a more identity as compared to a newborn child, right? So how do we at which point of human development uh, do we get to say that it is a person now who who has the potential to become a complete human being and deserve the same moral, ethical, and legal consideration which any other human being in our society deserves, right? So, I think all of you would agree that an adult, uh, a human being is a person who has all of their cognitive abilities intact. However, if you have a patient who is in a vegetative state, or in simple terms, let's say if they're brain dead, it means that their entire body is operational, but their neural or cognitive ability is gone. So, are they this? Or do we accord them the same personhood, the same moral and ethical and legal consideration as an adult, versus an adult who is uh, a, a fully a cognitive, healthy human being, right? So here comes the concept of being a moral subject. So, as an anthropocentric society, uh, we have created these moral and ethical norms in the society, and we have defined that each human being in the society has to be treated morally, which makes them a moral subject, a moral subject. All right, but at the same time, an adult individual who is in our country 18 years plus is also a moral agent. So you expect a moral agent, an adult human being, to treat everyone around them with the same sense of morality which they are entitled themselves, right? However, if you look at a child or an infant, the infant is a moral subject. They need to be treated with morality. But do we expect the same amount of a moral treatment from a child towards other children or the adults uh, around them? No. So as we grow, the the responsibilities and how much of the law of the land is applicable to you, it increases. after you turn 18, uh, you are a complete moral agent who is expected to behave in alignment with the law of the land and treat everyone else with the morality. However, the our question becomes more tricky. Is when is a fetus a moral subject? And this a question about the fetus being a moral subject is what has driven the entire abortion debate in the history. If we go a step further, the embryo, just a blob of cells, which has not even differentiated uh, 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 into the three layers like the ectoderm, endoderm, or mesoderm. Are they a moral subject? So, and other aspect to look at is also a scale of personhood or a scale of consciousness. Do I accord the same uh, uh, moral rights to uh, a 6 month old a fetus as opposed to a 3 months old fetus as opposed to a month old fetus? So at which stage in the human development or the embryonic development does a blob of cell become a moral subject, right? So if you see in the US, there is a lot of a debate around abortion, and it's also because the how their society perceives the the moral agency of a fetus, and how our society as Indian society also perceives the uh, moral identity of a fetus is different. So in India, abortion is allowed till 20 weeks of pregnancy, and in exceptional cases, if it is a risk to the mother, in that case, abortion is also allowed up to 24 weeks of pregnancy after the permission of the court and the doctors and everything, right? So, how do we? It also means that the society is also impacting how the morality or the ethics looks like, right? So, uh, therefore, the stem cell research has been in this moral dilemma. So, as researchers, we have the stem cells have the ability to prevent or alleviate a lot of suffering by creating new therapies. However, at the same time, we have the duty to respect the value of human life. Should an embryo uh, uh, should we consider a human embryo to be a person? Or who are we to destroy the life of an embryo or a surplus embryo in order to create the therapy which will help or save someone else? It's not going to help or save the embryo itself, as the embryo is destroyed in the process of obtaining the embryonic stem cells, right? So here also comes the principle of justice. If it is not serving the sample provider, which is the embryo in this case, how is it just to 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 kill this embryo in order to develop therapies uh, for, let's say, the adults in the society, right? So how do we decide on what is ethical and what is not ethical? Is there a simple answer? No. And also, ethics is something which evolves along with the society. So, how the society perceives right and wrong around it has a large influence on how we are able to do research or operate as a moral agent or a moral subject in the society. So, uh, when a discussion about the ethics and the ethics of stem cell research started uh, in the 80s, it was the debate or the opposition was largely coming from the religion. And if you look at the religions in other part of the world, which evolved in our part of the world, like Hinduism or Buddhism, a lot of our identity begins at the time of birth. Our names, our sun sign, our moon sign, our kundli, everything, it begins at the time of the birth or the delivery, right? However, in Christianity, the life begins at the time of fertilization or conception itself. So, as the entire discourse around the ethics of a stem cell, it started in the US. And they are the first ones who came up with this agreement that at least allow us to do the experiment until the 14th day of embryo. And it was actually a negotiation, and it was a middle ground. It was a negotiation between the researchers, the ethicists, the social scientists, as well as the religious leader, who ultimately agreed that okay, after either the completion of 14 days of development or the formation of primitive speak, which is the preliminary a preliminary nervous system in an embryo's development. If the primitive speak is formed, it is assumed that the embryo can now perceive pain. So if they can perceive a pain, then they immediately become a moral subject, and they should not be experimented upon. So, and as you can see, this understanding of the 14-day rule, it evolved in 90s, in mid 90s, and even after 40 years of this, we are still stuck with the 14-day rule, right? So, uh, 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 now that we know that the answer to what is ethical and what is not ethical in stem cell research, how do we decide on that? So it's important to have frameworks which allow like a group of people to come together and discuss and decide if the experiment which a researcher is proposing is ethical or not. If it is not ethical, how can we make it more ethical, right? So, and in order to ensure that the system which we have in India is that is that of the institutional human ethics committees, which reviews any research involving human samples or data. Until March 2024, India also had a separate mechanism to review the ethical aspects of the stem cell research, and it was done through the institutional committee for stem cell research, ICSCR. However, in March last year, the ICMR merged the mandate of ICSCR with the IEC. We also had a national level apex body, NAC-SCRT, which advised and uh, uh, monitored the research in the restrictive areas of stem cell research. However, this committee has also been dissolved now, right? So in India, the stem cells and their derivatives are actually defined as a drug as per the Drugs and Cosmetic Acts. So any research you do in order to use stem cells as a therapy will go through the same regulation as the investigational new drug in the country, right? So as you saw that the answer to the ethical or not ethical is not black and white. It operates on gray. So, therefore, in order to guide the ethics committees or the agencies which are mandated to look at the ethical aspects of it, there is some guidance of it. So, depending on uh, the ethical and safety concerns of your research, the ICMR and DBT guidelines have categorized the stem cell research into three areas. So first is the permissible areas of research. In the bracket, I have mentioned the approvals you would require to do this kind of research. ICSCR is faded out as it has been dissolved and merged with IEC. So the permissible areas of research in the country include the in vitro studies using our stem cells which are isolated from tissues, establishment of a new human ESC lines from spare embryos. So in the IVF, after the as they always create excess embryos, after the implantation is successful, any spare embryos are allowed to be used to create the embryonic stem cell lines. Or if you are creating iPSCs, or if you're using the adult osmotic cell, it's allowed. It's allowed, but after the approval of IEC, right? Uh, so, if you're doing any in vitro studies, in vivo studies in experimental animals other than primates are using the established cell lines. However, there is a clause here which makes the ethics of stem cell research even more complicated. Such animals shall not be allowed to breed if the stem cells are likely to be incorporated in the gonads. So how do we define a species? A species is when uh, you are able to successfully uh, 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 reproduce with the a member of the same species and create a fertile offspring. And now the idea is that let's say if I take a rat and if I introduce a human stem cells into this rat in order to study what happens. And if the stem cells get integrated in their gonads, it could be possible that the rat is now also producing the sperm or the egg cells, which have the human genetic material. So, in order to avoid that, even if it happens, and if you allow this rat to uh, to breed, and if the next generation also has the genetic material of both rats and a human, how do we treat them? Is it a rat, as it's okay to do experiments on rat uh, or or, uh, or even sacrifice them? But if you have this hybrid, a chimera between a human and a rat, which also has some cells of human, is it a human? Is it okay to experiment on that hybrid or chimera anymore? All these kind of questions also arise. So the second category is the restrictive areas of research, which includes the creation of human pre-implantation embryos only with a specific aim of deriving ESC lines. If you're doing any clinical trials, if you're introducing any of the human stem cells into animals, including primates at embryonic or fetal stages of development. So the integration of the the host cells and the human cells is a much more likely if you introduce the human stem cells in the embryonic development itself. Again, such animals should not be allowed to breed. If you are creating any chimeras where the stem cells from two or a major two or more species are mixed together, like this a mystical chimeric animal who is a lion, a goat, and a serpent as well. What is it? If you kill a snake in India, you are not arrested. If you kill a lion, you may end up spending your entire life in prison. Now, if you create a hybrid between a snake and a lion, and if you kill that, where does the law stand? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Do we arrest this person or not arrest this person? All these questions arise. As we do not have answers to all these questions, it's the prevalent idea is better not to do it, right? If you are doing any genome modification of stem cells or a germline stem cells, uh, in order to do in vitro studies, it's still allowed, but it's restrictive. It means that after more scrutiny from the ethics committee, it can still be done. And again, our 14-day rule also appears here. Apart from that, we also have prohibited areas of research. So if you're doing any a gene therapy in the germline or doing any reproductive cloning, it's prohibited. In vitro culture of intact human embryos, again, beyond the 14 days of fertilization is not allowed. If you are doing any trials which involve the uh, 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 genic cells or any trials which involve the hybrids or a genome modified human embryos or implantation of uh, human embryos after in vitro manipulation into the uterus of humans or primates is also not allowed, right? Also, if your experiment is it has the potential to create any chimeric gonads, in that case, we cannot do that. Otherwise, who would not love uh, uh, an an entity which is half human and half horse? However, do you treat this new entity, the new chimera, as a horse, or do you treat them as a human being? So, in order to avoid any of these questions, uh, the the regulation has settled on that unless we have answers to these questions, let's not even create them. So, yeah, in the ethics or as the regulators, how do we ensure that we do the stem cell research as ethically as possible? So it involves this informed consent a process, and the understanding around informed consent has evolved to an extent that we no longer only look for informed consent, but it also has to be informed and understood consent. So it means that it's also the responsibility of the researcher to ensure that the participant who you are explaining the study or the research to has also understood what exactly it means. So the ICDs or the informed consent documents have two parts: the patient or the participant information sheet, in which you inform the participant or, or the patient about the study, the duration, and everything, and the informed consent form in which the participant or the patient agrees to be a part of the study, right? And however, as I was talking, is every consent a consent enough? So I'll give you an historical example of a Dr. William in the US Army, who was a surgeon in 1812. So he got a patient, Alexis, who was a trader, who was shot accidentally. So the unique manner in which the this gunshot wound was healed, it allowed Dr. William to access Alex's stomach. So he actually had a hole in his stomach. So the man and the opportunity had met. What William did was he hired Alexis, and in the work contract itself, he mentioned that Alexis has to submit to such a physiological or medical experiments as the said William shall direct or cause to be made on or in the stomach of Alexis him. Uh, 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 the said Alexis will obey the exhibiting and uh, showing of his stomach. So under this work agreement and consent, he conducted around 238 experiments on Alexis, which included taking a silver thread, tying a piece of meat at the end of it, and actually inserting the meat into the stomach uh, 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 through the hole, and pulling it out after a different time points to understand how much the digestion has happened. So through these experiments, uh, uh, he discovered the rate of digestion and also identified that digestion is a chemical process. Exercise helps, alcohol does not help, and all these things, right? However, if you see the work contract and the consent uh, about the same document, it means that Alexis did not have an independent choice to participate in these experimentations or not. However, for this a time in the history, it made at least he obtained some sort of consent. So, as a, a researcher in the modern world, uh, you need to make sure that if you are creating the informed consent documents, it should mention that it is research. See, this single word research is extremely important because as soon as you eliminate research, the Indian population has extreme trust on its science and scientists. That's why we don't have the vaccine hesitancy in the country, right? Uh, if you do not mention a research, the participant or the patient may assume that it is the uh, uh, what you're offering is the standard form of care. That's where the word research becomes extremely important in the consent uh, document. So you need to explain the purpose and the methods, the duration and the frequency of contacts, how many number of participants, if there are any benefits to the participants or the community, are there any anticipated risk or discomfort or inconvenience? How will you maintain or uphold the privacy and confidentiality of the participant? Is there any payment or reimbursement? If anything happens, if anything goes wrong, is there a free treatment or compensation? Uh, you, the participants also have the freedom to participate, of course, but the freedom to withdraw also. So if I have offered my uh, 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 PBMCs to you in order to create IPSCs, I can also withdraw the consent, and you need to destroy the IPSCs which you have created with my material, right? And identity and the contact of the research team. It needs to have the prior approval of IEC. uh, you also need to explain them the current standard of care. As see, if you are using any stem cell therapy, it's irreversible. If you are injecting a small molecular drug into a person, it will clear out from the system after some time. It might take a day, it might take a couple of days, uh, it might take a couple of weeks, but it will clear out. But if you are injecting any live stem cells into a patient or a participant, it's irreversible. It cannot be taken back at any cost, for that matter. So it's important to explain the irreversibility of the intervention if your intervention involves introducing the stem cells into the patient. The source and the characteristics, the established a standard of care, which category of trial is it? Is it blinded or randomized or open labeled? Uh, no charges. It has to be in the language which they understand. The language has to be simple. It has to be a layman a, a language, and in this case, or this entire consent process also has to be recorded on a video. So, as we are come towards the end of this talk, as Mohit also explained, that we have the ability to create organoids now. Organoids are these mini organs in a dish, which instead of having only a two-dimensional a study system in vitro, in vitro itself, you are creating a three-dimensional system, and they are called as organoids. Mohit also mentioned about assembloids. Assembloids is when you are bringing together the organoids or the cells of uh, uh, different tissues in the body, and growing them together in order to create a functional system, which in which the cells of different types can engage with each other. We also uh, have the embryoids. So we can also create these uh, uh, mimics of a human embryo in a dish, and they're called as blastoids or gastruloids, right? But independently, none of these organoids or assembloids or the embryoids have the ability to create a full human being. So they are also called as the non-integrated models, uh, right? However, it gets more tricky, uh, uh, the ethical aspects of it, as we associate a lot of our identity, emotion, the consciousness, the the mind, the ability to perceive pain, everything we relate it to our neural system. So if you are creating the brain organoids, uh, is the brain organoid or the mini brain in the dish, is it able to perceive pain? Is it able to remember the experimental procedure which you are doing on that organoid? We do not have an answer to these questions. However, it is important to be aware it uh, that it is the neural system, and eventually, if you allow it uh, enough support, it could have the ability to process its surrounding and remember things as well, and respond to it proactively. Our human brains are also amazing, and they have this amazing computing power. So there is also a discussion about the hybrids of artificial intelligence and the brain organoids. So if you can create this AI which engages with the amazing neuronal network and the computational ability of a brain, a human brain, it can transform the efficiency of AI. However, if you do create an AI which engages with a brain organoid, it means that now the a brain organoid is also computing and responding and has an identity and a consciousness and intelligence of itself. So if you create something like this under in vitro condition, it can survive forever. So if I would like to stop this project, if I would like to stop this hybrid, am I killing a person? Is this hybrid of brain organoid and AI a person? As maybe it is able to do a lot of cognitive functions similar to a human being. So I would like to leave you with these questions as a discourse around the ethics of the neural organoids also evolves. Hopefully, we'll have more answers in the future. Uh, and that brings me to the end of my talk. If you are interested in uh, in a responsible and a safe biotechnology research, and also the academic integrity or the research integrity, uh, my our colleague Shobhuj and I have created an online portal. The link is available here, and even if you scan the QR code, it will take you to that portal, and it is a rich a resource which has videos, movies, and documentaries, and case studies, and the regulatory documents, and storybooks, which will allow you to understand each of these aspects of ethics and compliance and biosafety and biosecurity, and the even the emerging questions in the ethics of doing research, right? So thank you so much. If you are a bachelor's or master's students who found this talk interesting, and if you are interested uh, in doing a bachelor's or master's dissertation a project in the ethics of stem cell research or biosecurity, I am open to hosting up to two students. So if you are interested, do write to me, and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Ketan. It was really very interesting talk. So we have some questions in the chat box. I would like to read them one by one to you, and maybe you can answer them. For the time's sake, we will be only be able to take two or three questions.
Sure,
Maybe
sure.
people can write to you.
Yes.
So the first question comes from Shehla. She asked, "At what stage a human body starts experiencing pain?"
Um, See, that's what. If we have an embryo in a dish, how do we know if the embryo is experiencing pain? So, if you have a small animal, or if you have a child or an adult, you can ask them that, is this painful? How do you ask an embryo if they're experiencing pain? So the after the negotiation and the with the ethics people and the social scientists and the religious leader, it was decided that as soon as the primitive nervous system starts forming in an embryo, it may be able to perceive pain. So if there is even a primitive nervous system, that is the point we should stop doing any experiments on this embryo,
All right.
which is
Jaideep
the
asked a ret-
2 week limit, 14-day or primitive state. Yeah.
yeah. Jaideep asked a retrospective question. In
Mm.
India, how was the 20-week time limit for abortion defined? What were the parameters considered to define that threshold? Is there any article or report describing this one can refer to? Would be interesting to see a world map for this and compare where India lies.
Excellent question. Yeah, excellent. And I'm also like one of the aspect I'm trying to work on is that uh, as as this a 14-day rule has evolved in a society in which Christianity is the dominant religion. So society also affects the law and the regulation. Right, as we saw in this case. So if India is allowing abortion until 20 weeks, can India also allow the experiments on in vitro embryos beyond the 14 days? So India has the Indian society is open to that, maybe, which is reflective in the abortion debate. How exactly is this a 20-week limit is decided is always a discussion between the experts of different fields. So you'll have lawyers and then the a woman health activist. So in this case, in abortion a debate, the another important aspect is the autonomy of the mother. So how much of a say does the mother have, or uh, as uh, as opposed to a child? So, or are they equally important? If they are equally important, then the abortion is illegal, irrespective of what the mother wants. However, if we also have a gradation uh, on the personhood, uh, it means that the mother is more of a person as compared to the child or the fetus. So, in that case, a mother should be allowed more of a moral subjectivity as compared to a fetus. And uh, ultimately, is negotiated together. So the experts in law, the expert in social. Okay, all these people would come together and then negotiate how much, how long, how far is okay, and how much, how far, how long is not okay also. And it is informed by the how the society also looks at it, right? So about the map, I'm not sure if there is a map. But then it is something which my group is working on, that in India, as the abortion is allowed, can we also allow research beyond 40 days rule?
Got it. One last question I would like to talk out. So Khushi asked, what makes human stem cell ethically distinct from other biological materials used in research, and why do they require special ethical consideration?
Oh, I think it was like the core of the talk itself, right? Like the stem cells have the ability. Uh, uh, there is a principle of human potential, right? So which also also plays out in the in reservation, in accepting refugees and etc., in which it says that the value of a human being sh- should not be decided on who they are right now, but it should be decided on how much potential do they have if we offer them every enabler. So there is this if you look at the principle of human potential, an embryo has the potential to become anything and anyone, all of us, everyone on this call today, all 50 of us have been a blob of cells at some point in time. So has been Albert Einstein or even Osama bin Laden. All of them have been a blob of cells at some point in time. So are we uh, uh, so the potential of in order to answer on that question, the potential of these human stem cells uh, is to create an entire human being, at least the ESCs, the embryonic stem cells. So their potential is what makes them ethically more challenging as compared to any other cell or tissue in the body. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
I think there's another interesting question, Mohit, that I would like to take from Dr. Nitya. So, Nitya is asking, what do you think of the 14-day rule to study human embryos, and what considerations we should have in mind if we want to reframe it? I think this also comes from the International Society for Stem Cell Research, which has been debating a lot on this topic. And they've said that, now because we have human blastoids and that these embryo-like structures are growing in the lab in the dish, there is a slight permission or context-dependent permission involved where you can possibly grow these embryos in a dish for more than 14 days.
Yeah.
So what went into deciding this aspect? What are the considerations that we should be aware of?
And yes, so the as you mentioned, this ISSCR, the International Society for Stem Cell Research, is this international conglomeration of stem cell researchers who come together and advise on how the guidelines on the stem cell research should look like. So they have been in their last two reports. They have also been advocating for extending the 14-day rule. So first of all, they said that this rule was applicable when you were uh, collecting the human embryos itself and growing it in a dish, right? However, now the technology has advanced enough that I can create iPSCs, and I can use those iPSCs to create um, uh, either blastoids or gastruloids, uh, which are not the complete embryo. So a gastruloid is not a complete embryo. It's not an integrated model of an embryo. So if you if you provide unlimited nourishment to a blastoid, it will never grow into a complete human being, or even a complete fetus, for that matter. So these models are called non-integrated models of embryos. So in which you are growing only a part of the embryo in the dish. So it does not have the same potential to become an entire human being anymore. And if you have these non-integrated models, it could allow us to understand how the human embryonic development happens. And also uh, it's a question of this or that. So if the other option to study human embryology or embryonic development after the 2 weeks is to study a pregnant woman and the fetus, which is ethically
It's
even more
not
challenging,
possible. Yes.
which is ethically even extremely challenging, right? So instead of that, if you allow us to study these non-integrated models in a dish up to 28 days, or even beyond that, it will allow us to have a much more comprehensive understanding of how we as humans uh, 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 have the embryonic embryonic development, right?
So does it boil down to ethics to benefit ratio to mankind?
It does. So, a lot of ethics always operates on the risk and benefit, and the entire. As I serve on ethics committees, then the if any proposal is coming to me, the idea is not to say if it is ethical or not ethical. The idea is to ask how can we uh, reduce the risk associated with the research as much as possible and increase the benefits as much as possible.
Right.
So, as I said earlier, it can unless is the prohibited areas of stem cell research, it's not possible to say if it is completely ethical or it's completely unethical. Uh, uh, a majority of the research which we review operates in the gray, and the intention is always to ensure that as we saw the principles, the ICMR also has a list of 12 principles, which also includes the minimization of risk and the maximization of benefits. So we are always choosing between the available options that we have.
Right. Great. Thank you so much. Love talking with you. I think Mohit, we can close it right now.
Yeah. Thank you everyone to be part of this series. We'll be having more such series. Please do check out our social media channels. And thanks, Ketan Thorat, for be upright and talk about such an interesting topic. Uh, Thank you all. And yeah.
Thank you,
Uh,
Dr.
uh, Thank you so much, everyone. It was a wonderful morning because of all of you, and have a weekend ahead. But I would also like to invite that if today's a talk has made you think about regulation or policy as something which is deeply integrated with the society, and if you'd like to know more or uh, uh, work on this, do reach out, and I would love to talk.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ketan. See you again. Bye.